Hello and a warm welcome to Forbes India W-Power 2025 with L'Oréal Paris. Now today we come together to celebrate women who haven't just broken the glass ceiling, but they've built new roofs, raised the bar across industries, from boardrooms to legislation to the sporting arena. Now for the 8th year in a row, Forbes India proudly presents a list that's not just about names. It's about stories. Stories of determination, of grit, innovation, and courage against all odds. Today, the Forbes India W-Power cohort is 150 plus trailblazers strong, and many of them have joined in here tonight as we celebrate the next 20 who are charting new paths with their ambition and steadfast leadership. Now, before we move ahead, I'd like to take a moment to extend our heartfelt thanks to our partner L'Oréal Paris for their invaluable contribution in making this evening a reality. All right, so it's time now to sit back, soak in the inspiration, and get ready to meet the incredible change makers of Forbes India W-Power 2025. On that note, I'd like to invite Anubhuti Mata, Principal Correspondent Forbes India, and Samidha Jain, Sub-Editor Forbes India, to deliver the opening address and set the tone for the much-awaited evening. Anubhuti, all yours.
Thank you so much, Sonal. Melinda Gates once said, "A woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman." And what an incredible sight it is to see a room full of women with strong, unshakable voices filled with power, passion, and purpose. Welcome to the 2025 Forbes India W-Power soiree. At Forbes India, we believe that while glass ceilings are being shattered every day, true equity is still a work in progress. And events like tonight are a small but a vital reminder that recognizing and celebrating women's leadership is not just about applauding success, but about inspiring systemic change. Since 2017, W-Power has celebrated self-made women who are not just leaders in their fields, but have also redefined what it means to lead, to build, and to break barriers. Forbes India W-Power has featured luminaries like Radhika Piramal of VIP Industries, Myntra CEO Nandita Sinha, boxer Mary Kom, IAS officer Ashwini Bhide, and actor Priyanka Chopra, whose work spans business, public service, science, sport, entertainment. Like every edition, the 8th and the current edition looks at reaffirming the extraordinary impact these women have made, earning acclaim not just in India, but across the globe. I invite my colleague Samidha Jain to take over.
Thank you, Anubhuti. Hello, everyone. This year's W-Power list is the result of months of intense research, nominations, and the wisdom of an all-women jury, including Salesforce's Arundhati Bhattacharya, Colossa Ventures' Ashu Suyash, Posha Medical's Meena Ganesh, and Piramal Group's Swati Piramal. While traditional indicators, such as financial success, were key consideration, the influence, leadership, and innovation emphasis was on recognizing self-made women who've not inherited wealth or position. Each of the 20 women on this list, and indeed many in this room, are pioneers, role models, and trailblazers. They have built businesses, shaped industries, transformed communities, and opened doors wider for those who come after them. While we cheer the progress from women finally taking command roles in the Army, Navy, and Air Force, to young girls leading startups in small towns, tonight is also about acknowledging that the work is far from done, and that real change still needs to reach every corner, every household, every village, and every organization. Thank you for being a part of our celebration. Welcome once again, and have a lovely evening ahead. Over to Sonal.
All right, thank you, Anubhuti. Thank you, Samidha. And now let's dive into the first session of the evening. Now, India's BFSI sector is in the middle of a massive transformation. It is digital, disruptive, and more dynamic than ever. And guess what? Leading this wave of change are women who aren't just adapting, but they're redefining what the future of finance looks like. It's agile, it's inclusive, and ready for tomorrow. In our first discussion for the evening, titled Building Empathetic, Impactful Leaders, we are bringing together some incredible women from the BFSI world. Leaders who have not just navigating change, but they are scripting it. To moderate this important conversation, I'd like to invite Neha Bothra, Associate Editor, Forbes India, on stage. And also, please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists. Joining us tonight, Shefali Goradia, Chairman of Deloitte South Asia, Sonia Das Gupta, MD and CEO Investment Banking and JM Financial, and Lakshmi Iyer, CEO Investments and Strategy, Kotak Alternate Asset Managers. Please give them a huge round of applause.
That was an example of sisterhood, someone just shouting out in support for the panel here. Thank you so much. Before we go to the panelists and begin the conversation, I have a question for the audience. There will be a mic, it will come to you. Let me know if you can recall one challenge you faced as a young working professional. You can raise your hand. Okay, starting in a male-dominated industry was the biggest challenge. Okay, anyone else? Do raise your hand. A mic will come to you. I see one hand up there. A mic is coming to you, ma'am.
Yeah, breaking the societal barrier.
Okay, breaking societal barriers. Yes, anything else? Come on, a couple of more volunteers, please.
Gender bias when it comes to work opportunities.
Gender bias when it comes to opportunities, yes. I see another hand going up there. Wait for the mic, please.
Constant judgment as women progresses through different stages of life.
Constant judgment, yes.
Women coming back to work after a sabbatical.
Yes.
Work environments that made me second guess my abilities.
Second guess abilities, yes. So, the reason I wanted to ask the audience was because we realized that many of the issues that they have raised are common issues. I think our panelists also, at one point or the other, have navigated these challenges. Let me come to you, Shefali, first. As a CEO, as a leader, all these challenges that we spoke about, how did you address these challenges and how did you navigate the downs in your journey?
Thank you, Neha, for inviting me to the panel, and thank you, Forbes India. Small correction, I'm not the CEO, I'm the chairperson. So a little bit distinction there. But, I could really relate to a lot of challenges that came from across the rooms. And, being in the professional services, we've all seen similar, circumstances, similar social upbringing, right? So I'm a chartered accountant. Started off my career with a small accounting firm, then went on to a Big Four accounting firm. I left and joined another law firm, and then I joined a boutique firm, came back to a Big Four firm. So I've seen a lot of different formats of professional services industry. And I've seen this issue across all of them. At the entry level, we have almost, there is a lot of gender equity. 50% women, more than 50% women in many cases. But as you rise through the cadre, we see the women fall off the chart. And that's largely, somebody said social conditioning. That's true. For us, family comes first. If there is anything that needs to be attended to at home, it's first the, woman's responsibility. What gets cooked at home, how are the children being raised, and anything happens, that's firstly the women's responsibility. So that's the main reason why women tend to give the career a little stepmotherly treatment. Only in their free time they would want to, focus on it. Or if there is any crisis, that's the first thing that gets put on, back burner. But that is where, the whole importance of having the right ecosystem with you, right? The support system, understanding family, and also having the right mentors. That's very important. And since last few years, I've been with Deloitte, and I'm seeing that gradually we are even moving beyond mentorship. The mentors are there, and they give good guidance. But
I'll come to that in just a bit, Shefali.
Okay.
Right now, I'd like to focus more on your journey and the challenges and how you navigated them. Let me go to Lakshmi at this point. As CEO, you have groomed teams and you have risen. I know because I've interacted with you so many times in a very difficult environment, a male-dominated environment. Tell me specifically, with personal anecdotes that you have shared with me in the past, if you can share with the audience, about how you addressed many of these challenges that were thrown at you.
Sure. Hi, good evening to all of you. It is a quasi-long weekend because it's a day off tomorrow. But we're all labor class, so we're always working. So
always work.
But, before I come to your, question directly, just a quick, reality check for this audience here. If I tell you pilot, what comes to your mind? Which gender comes to the mind? Instinctively, male. If I tell you nurse, what gender comes to your mind? Right? But the reality is we have female pilots. The reality is we have male nurses. So what happens is that in our lives, and especially being part of the financial fraternity in fund management, in asset management, whether it's listed or unlisted, we have faced, and somebody made a statement about stereotypes, because our mind is conditioned to be like that. The moment I say, don't think of a monkey, each one of us, because we are humans, we're thinking of a monkey. So I'd say that a lot of these inhibitions are self-made, conditioned by people around us, and we all come with baggage. And imagine whether you're doing weightlifting, whether you're doing a bench press in the gym, or you are carrying this baggage in your mind, which all of us do. Even I have done that. Somebody said that being, part of a fraternity which is male-dominated, when I joined the industry 25 years back, I was the only woman in the dealing room, and today I'm still the only woman in the boardroom. So but now I don't have that, self-doubt or, that thing in the mind ki, acha, ye aisa ho raha hai, so am I doing something wrong? In fact, you tune your mind and you condition your mind to say that you're daring to do something different, which probably somebody wanted to attempt and didn't really get to attempt. So I think that journey, or the metamorphosis from the caterpillar to the butterfly, is the journey that everyone has to do. I have done it, and it's not rocket science. Trust me, all of you can do it.
How did you do that journey, Sonia?
So thank you, Forbes, for this invitation and recognition. I think a lot of my journey is already written beautifully by Nasreen. Like I've always said, I grew up in a family where my father and mother, both parents, were very focused on academic excellence from both boys and girls. There was absolutely no differentiation. I think same in the case of, so we competed head-on with, both genders at every place. Fortunately, I joined a investment bank, Mr. Kampani. He doesn't care whether you are wearing a suit or a sari. Often doing M&A deals, I was the last person to leave office, working on some Excel spreadsheets, and he would walk up to me and say, everything okay? And I used to say yes, and then he used to say, just switch off the lights before you go, okay? So, his indifference to your gender made it such an equal opportunity place that, it didn't matter to us. And I was very fortunate to be in a place because I saw my colleagues or my friends who were working in other places which had very high alpha men, okay? And though they were very high achieving women, they, at some point of time, they just lost the fun of doing the deals. Because it was difficult for them to network, it was an all-boys club. Often when I went for meetings, and like Lakshmi said, the men would look at the clients would look at the men, even if they were junior, and talk to them, not to me, right? Thinking that maybe he is the senior person, maybe she's just, someone who's there to assist him, to take his notes or something like that. So I think, we have to then just take the mic and say, talk to me, right? And I did not have any inhibitions. And I think at the end of the day, competence beats everything, right? If you deliver, you're a good at your work, then you have to literally not bother about all this noise around you, about what is happening. And I think being not very good looking helped me realize that I'm doing well because of my cerebral power, not my looks, which is not objectification of women. Because a lot of times, like Lakshmi said, or someone said, a lot of aspersions are cast on why the woman has risen on the top, right? Which is something that needs to be battled very strongly, right? And I like to call out the good men, as much as a lot is made about the alpha, men who domineer and don't let other people rise. I think the alpha men don't let other men also rise. So I don't think it's something to do with women specifically. But I think we need to give a loud round of applause to a lot of good men out there who have been, our friends, our colleagues, our mentors, our bosses, who have really stood by and created a real equal opportunity place. And I see that more and more in Indian entrepreneurs, much more than multinationals. So I think that's a very heartening thing to see. And last thing I want to say, which is a very unfortunate thing, not very many women at the top are nice women to work with. I'm sorry to say that, but I have often seen it was easier for us to work with the men than the women. I don't know why. And I often hope and pray I'm not one of those women who the juniors think is the most difficult person in office to work with. I hope and pray I'm not becoming the person I fear. And it's a really sad thing, right? I don't know why women are so perfectionist, whereas the male bosses are a little more chill. As long as the work gets done, but women are like, you have to be here at this time. I think the women leaders need to let loose and give some slack.
Yeah, maybe we won't paint all with the same brush because there are women leaders. No, I know Lakshmi very personally and she's nothing like that.
No, but I need that to be called out because it's not always that the men are difficult and domineering women. There are a lot of women and we as women leaders need to make sure that we are the good people to work for. That's the point I'm making.
As women leaders, Sonia, what do you think sets us apart? What would you say are 2-3 qualities that help build a team, tackle toxicity in the workplace? How do women handle it differently?
I think, again, at the cost of generalization, which you just called out, so pardon me for that generalizing, but I think women are far more sensitive to the non-verbal cues, right? I mean, as soon as some team member enters my room, I'm very clear they are disturbed. Something is, trying to address the real issue rather than what they're verbalizing. So I think that makes for a great leader. That makes for a great empathetic leader. I actually tell all my women colleagues that do not hesitate to put your hand up and say, yes, I have a family issue. My son is not well. My husband is not well. I'm not well. I want to go home. Don't feel guilty about it because I tell them there are enough and equal number of men who come to me and say, I need to leave early because my wife has a headache. And fine. So you are no lesser a human than them. So, don't be ashamed to say that. And I think trying to create and normalize balancing family commitments with work, specifically with technology, so much can be done. Trying to be more accommodative, and because we ourselves have battled that at our end, I think we can be more empathetic about other people trying to do that. I think that makes for a great leader.
Shefali, coming to you, we often talk about empathy, how empathy is a solution to handling human relationships. How have you used empathy at the workplace to foster better teamwork?
I think what Sonia said about, as women, we are more perceptive. So we really understand, and some of us have gone through the same, challenges in our career, right? So it puts us in a good position to be able to preempt and proactively, put some policies in place so that you are able to address some of these biases. So, for example, whether it is, this imposter syndrome, right, that the women go through, that, what if I'm not good enough for the job? And, we've seen, most women, they don't raise their hand for a job unless they are 110% there. Whereas, men would, willingly take up the job, even if they think that they can, barely 60 to 70% do the job. So that is where you need to have a little bit more of a mentoring and, a sponsorship kind of an ecosystem. And once you have that, then, so there's somebody else who's going to take charge or at least, be there with the women colleagues throughout their journey and, along the way, nudge them if they think that, they can do the job, that they are not willing to do that. Also, just providing the flexibility to work. And women do need a lot more flexibility. We all acknowledge that. It's not that the men don't, but women need more. And therefore, providing them that flexibility that they can take the time off if they need it, and that will not really compromise their career. I think that's a huge security for them. So trying to have something in place for that. And then lastly, I think I often talk about it. I think for the women, the younger women, who are going on the maternity leave and all, we provide something called a nanny allowance. And that itself is such a good equalizer that, they have somebody that that's already paid for, and then therefore the family does not really, challenge them on that. And that gives them that enough of a cushion to go out and do the job that they want to. So it's just, being a little more mindful about the policies that you can put in place that support women in their career.
Lakshmi, coming to you, the audience spoke about some issues many of them have faced at the workplace. One being a very toxic boss, micromanagement, gaslighting, other than what was already spoken about. How do you think as a woman at the workplace, as a leader, since you have seen that, you have been part of that journey, how do you address many of these issues?
So I'll tell you, leadership is gender agnostic, but I kind of chime in to what Sonia mentioned, that as an empathetic leader, you lead your team with a heart and yet take decisions with the head. I think that is so very important, which means that you are combining the IQ and EQ, which is so very important. Have you seen the movie Tare Zameen Par? Yeah. So in that, Ishan is a special child. He's a dyslexic kid, and Amir Khan obviously is his mentor. And he says that har bachcha special hota hai. Every child is special. And when you start recognizing and realizing that every team member of yours is special, somebody is operating at 100% capacity utilization, somebody may not be. And typically what HR people call it the bell curve, I call it the human curve. So, you need to be human, because typically, I have nothing against HR professionals. I jovially tell my HR colleagues that you guys are inhuman resources, not the human resources. But that's more on a lighter vein, okay? It's that time of the year, so I better be good to them. But the point is that I think that is the fundamental difference which kind of allows you to be slightly more agile and put yourself in that position. So again, if I take my own example, I tell people don't be like me, genuinely, because my maternity leave formally 20 years back was 3 months. I came back exactly on the 31st day. Nobody told me to, but obviously it's my calling, and I said this is what I'm meant for. Now in our organization, we have 6 months maternity leave, and I tell everyone, take 182, don't take 181, because the child needs that, and you need that because you are the caregiver. So I think some of this empathetic attitude is essentially putting yourself in the other person's shoes and tell yourself, and I actually walk the road. I'm too chill about certain things. Honestly, I don't care when my team members come in, when they go out, but work they must, deliver they must, and if there's a timeline, they have to deliver. I think that's what the crux is. And when more people, and this is a game of relay. So you have to pass on the baton, or in kite flying, it is dheel chodna. I discussed this with you. So it is very important to let go of the baton. And if you do not, that really ekes of insecurity. And as a leader, trust me, and many of you may be already or aspiring to be at that level, insecurity is your biggest enemy. You don't need any woman, you don't need any male in the room. It's your own insecurity which is your biggest impediment. So I think these are some of the real life hacks which I have implemented. And again, as I said, there is no recipe booklet for this, to be very honest. It is not Googleable, it is not chat GPTable, to be very honest. But this is something which you learn around, and it's absolutely doable. It's about commonsensical approach to something which is very uncommon today.
So we have 2 minutes before we wrap the panel. Very quickly, as chairperson at Deloitte, tell me a couple of ways in which you are trying to pave the way for women leaders and trying to create systemic change, be it gender parity when it comes to pay, be it overall authority. What are some practical ways that you are trying to achieve that?
So, like I said, one of the first things that we did was, try and have sponsors for the women who are in that mid-management level. And that just means that they are the leaders who have the responsibility and they own the career of, few women colleagues. And they actually open the doors for them, not just be there and, guide them when they approach, but proactively, ask them why are they not doing 10 other things that they should be doing. Secondly, we also try and make the management accountable. So today, as a board, if you are asking the questions to the management and holding them accountable, why don't they have a good pipeline of women that are coming up the chain? Then that actually forces them to take actions. And I think this is what every board must do. Whether it is gender, age, or whatever, diversity, inclusion, but really make the management accountable for it.
Lakshmi, now you come from the finance industry. We are going through very interesting times. Volatility, turmoil, a lot of uncertainty as well. What's your playbook? What is the CEO's playbook that you would recommend for leaders during such times to lead with empathy at a time when we are seeing so much disruption? We are talking about artificial intelligence. What is your playbook?
So the playbook is very simple, Neha, that, and then this is because of the market role, we will have Bulbulaya, then we will have the sequels to that, Bulbulaya 2 and 3, you will have Anjalika, you will have Manjalika, but then you have to decide whether you are Karthik Aryan or you are Vidya Balan, and you have to decide who is the witch which is haunting you. I think that is so very important in our lives, and equip yourself. Equip yourself, Shiva had the Brahmastra, we do not have the Brahmastra, but our Brahmastra is the kind of agile skill sets that we have to take up. As you rightly said, AI, Gen AI, the world is changing tectonically, and fund management, the way you are going to deliver returns to the shareholder, the unit holder is changing. So agility is the name of the game, and that is the only playbook that you have to live with.
Sonia, before we wrap up, very quickly, you have the last word. You are the deal maker. You are very good when it comes to negotiating. Share a few tips with the audience. How do women become very good negotiators? We are good, but just to up our game.
Yeah, we are very good at negotiating for our clients, but we are very bad when it comes to negotiating for ourselves. I don't think women market themselves well internally. And I think, like Shefali was saying, women really want to be super prepared, 110%, whereas the men, I can tell you, being the CEO, are not even half as prepared as you. So just go out there and say, I can do it. We'll figure it out along the way, right? But it comes to negotiations, obviously the simple mantra is understand where the other side is coming from, go well prepared, do your homework. Those are basics 101 of negotiation. But very important for all the women out there, believe in yourself. You are good. And don't let anyone tell you you're not. If someone tells you you're not, you change your boss. Because he doesn't know and he can't understand.
Change your boss, remember.
Yeah. He or she can't understand how good you are. Okay? Nothing can, nobody should be able to tell you how good or bad you are, because that should be something you should be able to tell yourself, because when you exude that confidence, the client feels it. When you go to a doctor and the doctor exudes the confidence, half of the patients get cured with that. Same thing is with all your clients also. So just believe in yourself. You are good. And I can tell you a secret, being, at a position where I'm seeing a lot of men and women, the men are not half as good as you. So just be there and fight for yourself.
And Neha, just one point, since Sonia mentioned this, I think there is a very thin line of differentiation between assertive and aggressive. But when men do it, they are called assertive. Trust me, when women do, they are deemed aggressive. Hindi में बोलते वो करे तो रास लीला, हम करे तो character ढीला. So don't get sucked into it. I think it's so very important for us to be assertive and yet be absolutely, knowing that there is that fine line. And again, the one simple mantra is absolutely gender agnostic.
No, I think women can act or contrary because we have this lovely, soft, sweet voice. Show aggressiveness and prove that they are assertive. So you just do it.
On that very positive note, we'll end the conversation. Thank you so much, Shefali, Lakshmi, and Sonia for being a part of the conversation. Thank you.
All right then, lots of food for thought from changing your bosses to getting nanny allowances. This panel truly did not hold back. So let's move on now. Before we dive deeper into the evening, let's take a moment to celebrate the spirit of W-Power, the journeys, the milestones, and the stories of women who are shaping a bold new India. Here's a glimpse of the unstoppable force that defines W-Power. Let's take a look.
Women are setting new standards of excellence and leading India towards equitable growth. Every year, Forbes India W-Power celebrates women trailblazers, game changers, and leaders. And now, Forbes India W-Power is back, this time with a power-packed all-women jury. Together, they have chosen this year's cohort of Forbes India W-Power. From IAS officers to entrepreneurs, sportspersons to change makers, women who are breaking the status quo, seizing the day and inspiring millions. Forbes India W-Power 2025.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to honor the women whose journeys are not just personal milestones, but powerful roadmaps for empowerment. These self-made women are redefining industries and inspiring generations to come. Now, to present the first set of felicitations for the evening, I'd like to invite on stage two remarkable leaders who embody the spirit of W-Power themselves. Let me call upon the W-Power alumni, Lakshmi Iyer, CEO, Investment and Strategy, Kotak, alternate managers, and on stage and joining her will be Pooja Dhingra, founder of Femme Batistry, who is also a Forbes India 30 under 30 alumni and now part of the esteemed jury. So tonight, as we celebrate leadership, resilience, and breaking new ground, it's only fitting that we begin with honoring a true trailblazer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage the very incredible Shefali Goradia, chairperson of Deloitte South Asia. She is the first woman to head a Big Four firm in India. She has paved the way for countless others to dream bigger and aim higher, and a fierce champion of gender inclusion and mentor to many. Her journey is a shining example of leadership with clarity, conviction, and compassion. Big round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Forbes India. And thank you to the jury for, selecting me for this award. This is something, it's very close to my heart because when I took the chair in Deloitte, and this was the first position where any woman had reached in any Big Four world, and those who are from the professional industry, would relate to this, that it is extremely difficult to navigate once you reach certain position. But this is something that I do talk about this at many forums, that it is very important for us women to not just, be seen with these kind of awards, but also talk about our journey so that, others can seek inspiration and they know that, people have managed to do it and they can do it. It is all about risk-taking. I said, whether you are an entrepreneur or you are in a service industry, it is all about getting out of your comfort zone. Any leadership position requires you to take that leap of faith. And it's good to see that, now we have a lot of people who are willing to stand with you and give you that push. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shefali. Congratulations. All right, next up, in a space historically dominated by men, some women build new frameworks of leadership. Our next award winner is Sonia Dasgupta, MD and CEO of Investment Banking, JM Financial, in a career spanning over 25 years. And you can keep the applause going. Sonia has led JM Financial to groundbreaking transactions under her leadership. The equity capital market closed 42 deals cumulatively, raising nearly 89,000 crore in 2024. Her sharp insights and strategic vision are taking the company and the sector to new heights. Let's give her a huge, huge round of applause. Please say a few words.
Thank you, Forbes, for this honor. Obviously, I want to thank everyone who's been part of this, my parents, my colleagues, most importantly, my equal partner, Samrat, who's here. Nothing would have been possible without his support. He's my batchmate from IIM Ahmedabad, and I could not have asked God for a better partner, equal partner in every way. And I think, as someone very wise said, the biggest and the best, most important decision a woman makes is the partner she chooses in life. They can really make or break, all our aspirations. So thank you, Samrat. I think over and above everything that I have already said here, I have a special appeal to all the women here, is that women really need to network more. I don't think we fight for each other enough. I don't think we push each other enough. And, we may say all we want about men and whatever they do, good or bad, but I think they really network effectively to deliver outcomes that matter to them. And I think it's very important, if of all the people you meet here, if at least 2 or 3 help you in whatever you're doing in life, whatever business you're doing, whatever aspirations you have, try and be that person to the person you met today. And I think if we start that journey, that every time I meet a woman, I try to see how I can enhance her journey, right? Or help you enhance your journey, we would have made a lot of progress. I don't think we push each other enough. And my appeal to all of you is, please network aggressively to push each other. You don't need to wait for their husbands or their bosses to meet. Speak to the person you're speaking and make that person the important link to that franchise and see the difference you're making in that woman's life. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sonia. And I'm definitely catching up with you after. All right, next we have the honor of celebrating a dynamic leader whose journey with the Tata Group spans 2 decades. Please join me in welcoming Savita Balachandran, CFO, Tata Technologies. She has sort of straddled roles in diverse fields such as business, finance, and strategy transformation. She's the first woman to helm the CFO role in 31 years since Tata Technologies was established. Please keep those applause going. She led the company's IPO in 2023, the Tata Group's first listing in over 19 years, an accomplishment she considers the biggest in her career so far.
Thank you, Forbes, and the jury for honoring me. It's certainly an extremely humble recognition. And to the points that both Shafali and Sonia made before me, this is certainly a personal milestone, but one can't forget what this reflects in terms of the support system that exists out there to help us shape our journey. So once again, I think a big shout out to my loving family, my mother, my husband Deepak, and all of my managers, my mentors who've been along the way shaping this journey with me. And my own reflection of my journey of leadership has been that at the end of the day, it's about showing up first. So I think we as women first need to have the courage to show up, ensure that we make space for people. And I've realized that when you focus with laser sharp attention to deliver impact, things fall in place. So once again, thank you very much for this honor, and thanks once again. And I share this with all the women out there chasing your own dreams. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations again. Now moving ahead, it's time to honor another remarkable leader, a trailblazer who has reimagined luxury with a deep-rooted connection to Indian tradition. Please give a huge round of applause to Meera Kulkarni, founder and MD of Forbes Essentials. Now starting with just about 2 lakh in her mid-40s, Meera went on to build a global luxury Ayurvedic skin and hair care brand, a journey powered by vision, perseverance, and an unwavering belief in authenticity. Today, Forbes Essential is debt-free, $1 billion brand, which is absolutely remarkable as well. Her story is a shining example of women everywhere who dream boldly and build with purpose. Now, Meera unfortunately couldn't join us today, but she did send a message. Let's play that out first, please.
I am truly honored to receive the Forbes India Women Power Award. This recognition is to the countless women who continue to break barriers. To my incredible team, this achievement belongs to all of us. Your belief and dedication have always been my greatest strength. For every woman with a dream, know that your potential is limitless. Keep pushing boundaries and never underestimate the power of your voice. Thank you, Forbes. Together we can all shape a future where every woman can thrive. Thank you.
Now receiving the award on Meera's behalf is Jacqueline Mishra. She's the retail head for Forbes Essential. Thank you so much and big congratulations. I would like to thank Lakshmi and Pooja also for being here and doing the honors for this segment. Now it's time to move into a very special part of the evening, one that celebrates not just success, but the spirit of lifting others as we rise. At Forbes India W-Power, in association with L'Oreal Paris, we proudly present Women of Worth, a unique felicitation honoring iconic leaders and the next generation of change makers they are inspiring. This just isn't about celebrating achievement, it's about celebrating mentorship, legacy, and the extraordinary ripple effect that happens when women support women to encourage and to empower. Now, kicking off our Women of Worth felicitation, we shine a spotlight on 2 phenomenal women who are reshaping their industries with vision, courage, and purpose. To help us honor these incredible mentor-mentee duos, may I please invite on stage Dario Zizi, the General Manager, L'Oreal Paris, India. And I would request you to say a few words, yeah?
Hello everyone. It's a wonderful night and a great honor for us to partner with you and to do what the brand does best and what the brand actually is trying to do since its establishment is to partner with women in their journey of self-worth. You all know, you saw the beautiful installation outside. The tagline of the brand is "I'm worth it." What does it mean? It means that sometimes you can, at the beginning was about spending a bit more for yourself because I'm worth it. And it is based on a woman telling this to herself instead of having a man to say it for her, like it was in the 60s and in the 70s when the tagline was invented. Now we are talking about the biggest beauty brand in the world, and it is rooted in this partnership we have with women. And we wanted to, let's say, keep going with this partnership program, starting with this, the mentorship, and you'll see even later on how we decided to keep doing this activity with Forbes, which is a great collaboration that we are doing in other brands, in other countries like France, US, etc. And we are very, very happy to do it here in India. So yeah, thank you very much for your attention, and let's crack on. And let's give the Women of Worth prizes, which are very, very proud of.
Thank you so much for that, Dario. All right, without any further ado, our first mentor-mentee pair of the evening, an inspiring duo that defines a celebration of music, mentorship, and the magic of dreams. Our mentor tonight is a powerhouse of talent, perseverance, and passion. Please join me in welcoming on stage the incredible Neeti Mohan. From winning hearts on reality shows to becoming the National Film Award winning artist, she has redefined success on her terms. Her fearless versatility and soulful music have broken barriers in the music industry and making her also the true role model for aspiring artists everywhere. But that's one side of the mentor-mentee, right? Let me also call upon stage, by her side, a young musical prodigy who has already carved a name for herself. Let's hear it for the amazing Nishtha Sharma. From winning the Voice of India Kids to now shaping her powerful journey, she embodies a spirit of fearless ambition and limitless possibilities. A huge round of applause and lots of warm hugs. Come on, we can't. We have you. We have your prodigy on stage. I would be damned if I didn't ask for a little jugalbandi over here.
A very good evening, everyone. It's absolutely, thrilling to be here amongst accomplished and aspirational women. And thank you, Forbes, and thank you, L'Oreal, for this amazing series. And this amazing concept of mentor and mentee. And Nishtha is so promising and doing so well. I also believe that women have to support more women, and I come from a family of 4 sisters, so talk about that. I mean, my mother always told me, whatever you will do, your sisters will follow you. And I have the biggest support system, and that's my sisters, and fortunately all of us are in the same profession of performing arts. So I feel they are somebody who are just, women leaders, be it dancing or acting or singers, all of us are just trying to follow our heart and passion. So I'm very, very, very grateful for all the women who show up for each other because, and I also want to honor my mother-in-law because I think without her, after becoming a mother, it's so difficult to work. So, she's the one who always tells me, go out there, you've worked so hard all this while, I will not ask you to step back and just only be a mother. So I'm pursuing music and motherhood because my mother-in-law, my husband, my sisters, my mother, my family is so supportive. And I also feel that this is your responsibility to show it to the world that if you can do it, others will also get up and do it. So thank you so much. I also want to just sing 2 lines for all the women who show up for other women. Yeah. Tu hai I know all women will shine because they have somebody who's backing them up. Thank you so much. Over to Nishtha.
सबसे पहले यहाँ पे उपस्थित सभी लोगों को मेरा नमस्कार. Myself Nishtha, and I'm so happy and so grateful that I'm receiving this award alongside one of those people that I look up to. I have known Neeti ma'am for like 15 years now when I participated in my first singing reality show that was The Voice India Kids. I was 10 years और उस समय जिस व्यक्ति ने मेरे लिए सबसे पहले बजर बजाया था, मेरी कला को पहचाना था और मेरी आवाज़ को सराहा था, वो नीति मैम थी. और आज मैं उनकी टीम में थी और कॉन्टिन्यूसली शी यूज्ड टू पुश मी फॉरवर्ड. सबसे पहले सरगम क्वीन का टैग मैम ने मुझे दिया. उसके बाद मैंने 2023 में सारेगामापा में बड़ों वालों के शो में पार्टिसिपेट किया एंड अगेन मेरी जो जज थी वो नीति मैम थी. This was all destiny, but I just want to say that over all these years, right now I'm 18, but ma'am has been one of those constant inspiration for me, जिनको देख कर के मैं आगे बढ़ती हूँ, संगीत में कुछ सीखने का मौका मिलता है. Because of course संगीत की शिक्षा, जैसे कि मैम ने कहा कि उनकी फैमिली से उनको एक बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रेंथ मिलता है. Fortunately, I have got this music from my parents who are sitting right here in front of me, both my papa ji, mummy ji and my bada bhai. So getting this award in front of them, जिसके वजह से मुझे संगीत मिला और जिसके वजह से मैं संगीत निरंतर कर रही हूँ, my dearest नीति मैम, मुझे ये आशीर्वाद जो मिला है from L'Oreal, from Forbes, thank you so much for giving me this award. और मेरे पापा जी कहते हैं कि एक ही लाइन बोलूँगी, वक्त so much. Thank you.
I
ma'am.
got goosebumps on that one. Come on, do I have the audience with me to ask for a jugal bandi between Neeti and Nishtha? Can we hear it for Neeti? Neeti?
Thank you, but I don't know, we didn't prepare anything, but okay, but so we celebrate the spirit of women, and one of the songs that I sang, GRA, I feel like it just salutes and celebrate every woman's spirit. So, Chali Re.
All right then, Neeti and Nishtha, thank you so very much, and big congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Dario, we need you up. All right, after that, Moving on to our next award in this category. The mentor in this category is Radhika Gupta, MD and CEO of Edelweiss Mutual Fund, a revolutionary force. That's right, she needs no introduction. In India's financial landscape, she stands tall as one of the youngest CEOs in the mutual fund industry. Unfortunately, Radhika could not join us tonight, but her mentee from the world of wellness and conscious snacking is here with us this evening. Please welcome on stage Ahana Gautam, founder and CEO of Open Secret. With her passion-fueled brand, Ahana is leading a delicious revolution. Her blend of innovation and empathy redefines how we nourish our bodies and build businesses with heart. Anna, a few words?
Definitely, I won't attempt to sing after that amazing performance. But first of all, thank you, Forbes, thank you, L'Oreal, for having me. And I have to say, what an inspiring evening it has been. And as I was sitting there and I was thinking about, as us women leaders, I think today we need to make a promise that we have to bring more women onto this journey. And this is not a choice, it's going to be a responsibility. And all of us, because we are in the leadership position, and I think it's enough. The LinkedIn stories is not going to help. And now it's a time to do some action. And if I can just share a little bit of my story, if I'm standing here today, it's because of one woman, and that was my mother. I grew up in a very small city of Rajasthan called Bharatpur, and I was raised by a single working mother.
Wow.
And my journey from Bharatpur to IIT Bombay to Harvard Business School to see a world of Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and think why India is such a third world country when it comes to packaged foods. Why can't we change that? Taking that one-way flight from Boston to Bombay, starting Open Secret, now running Open Secret as a solo founder, running a profitable business which is more than 100 crore ARR. I have realized that if that one woman can give me so much strength and so much confidence, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your gender is. We have to make gender invisible. And if my story and all your stories can inspire millions of girls out there, imagine what the world is going to be decades later. So congratulations to all of you out here. And really, let's make a difference in our circle of control and as well as in our circle of influence. Let's have more women, because that's what India needs.
Well said, Ahana. Thank you so much. Congratulations as well. I can thank Daria also for being here and doing the honors here. All right, when you're building empires, chasing dreams, and breaking barriers, what you need the most isn't just strategy or hustle, it's support. A strong tribe, people who root for you, especially when the going gets tough. And that brings us to a conversation that couldn't be more timely, or perhaps more powerful at this point, at the Forbes India W-Power 2025. Now we are flipping the script on the old boys club to recognize something far more impactful: support, solidarity, and the sheer force of women showing up for other women. And who better to lead this conversation than two incredible women? One who turned macarons into a movement, and the other who turned spotlight into a platform. Who am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Pooja Dhingra, the founder for 15 Patisserie, and Meera Kapoor, founder of Dhoon Wellness and co-founder A-Kind Beauty. Can I please request both of them to come on stage, please? So let's start with the obvious, the business strategy that matters, entrepreneurs who are sitting with me here today. But studies now show that as much as business strategies work and they matter, so do friendships. So your girl gang could literally make you live longer, think clearer, and even dream bigger. That's what studies are saying now. So with that said, I just want to throw it open to the two of you on, take me back to that one moment, and Meera, you can begin, I'll go to Pooja. Take me back to that one moment where your girl gang, your female WhatsApp group, or the numerous screenshots that friends keep sending us, was that light bulb, and you said, I can't give up now?
That's a very interesting question. Good evening, everyone. I think we're going to be quite a damn squib after that wonderful musical performance, but hopefully we keep you guys entertained. I have to say, there is nothing like having your girl gang. I'm the youngest of 3 sisters, so I have grown up with a girl gang. I've always had my sisters around me. We go through phases, or went through phases where we hated each other, and now have become the meme where it's the 3 of us against our mom. And we switch sides now and then. But having your friends and a circle of women supporting you through times of difficulty, times of joy, times of celebration, I think there's nothing quite like that. And for me, I think I have my channels of support across platform. It's a meme war happening on Instagram, and then we're sending each other messages on the WhatsApp groups. You're calling each other, FaceTime, this and that. I think especially now, when one is at the precipice of a business where pressure gets very, very high. When you asked me this light bulb moment, a few days ago, I think I had one of those days where I just messaged on my sister's group saying, going crazy. 3 minutes, I had both of them on the phone. What happened? And I think that is what female friendship, sisterhood, support is all about. I think we show up for each other when it's required. I had my friends fly down when I was admitted to the hospital for, during my pregnancy, just to make me feel happy. And I went to see my friend when she delivered a baby. I think that bond that we share is something that support cannot be broken. So I'm really happy to be talking about that today. I know Pooja has a great circle of friends, and we see her loving them through her food and friendship. So over to you.
Yeah, you have a Behen Code moment as well.
Oh, I have many. I think from school, the group of friends that that I had then, to taking the decision to go to culinary school. I remember this clearly. It was 3 of us. We were, just finishing college in Switzerland, and we were like, what are we doing with our lives now? And the 3 of us decided, let's do this together. And we, for me, like to go live in France, it really helped that one of them was French, and the 3 of us just took this decision. And then living together in Europe for a year with these girls was like the best experience that I could have. And then now later, like building a business, you're going through so many challenges. There's so many days that you are insecure, that you don't feel like showing up, that, and then you have the support system who's, knows what this feels like, who's there for you. And exactly like Meera said, it's a WhatsApp message that goes out saying, with us, it's for me, it's always like, they'll send me like PMSing and then I'll be like, I got you, I know what to make. So it's lovely from the really hard things, hard decisions, to daily things. I think it's just so nice to have. For me, maybe 3-4 years ago, I decided to freeze my eggs. And it was my girlfriends that kind of pushed me to, because I was like, I'm not sure of my life path. I don't know if this is something I want to do. And, it was their support that said, do it. It's a safety net. It's a security blanket. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I didn't have their support.
That's lovely. So from PMSing to, from small things to the big ones, you always need that WhatsApp group, right? Like really gets you going. But I want to think, for those of us who are lucky to have these friends and these stories, we are so blessed. But if you guys were creating or saying, move aside this old boys club and a girl gang, how would you go about doing it? What would you tell people who perhaps miss it today? How to find that? How to spot your behen in the group? Meera, you want to go?
I think, speaking of the old boys club, I think women just have a different way of doing things. I know a lot of men in the audience won't want me to say it's better, but it is. I think we generally function with a lot more empathy. We use our emotions well. I don't think that should be held against us when we say we are emotional. I think we recognize the emotions and sensitivities with other people, because you might be selling a product, a cake, a service, but you're doing it through a team, which is a team full of people. And so you need to be able to engage with them in an empathetic, supportive way. I think for those who may not have found it in the workplace, you always have your family, your friends, and as you kind of traverse the workplace, you will find people in whom you can confide in. You might find that I like how this person writes an email, maybe we have something in common. Or I really like how she makes Excel sheets and let me learn this from her. There's nothing wrong in saying, can you help me? I like how you're doing this. Maybe you can teach me. So, maybe when you're in an office full of new people, if you're the one who's been there, take that step towards another woman and make her feel comfortable. And if you're the one who's new and you're trying to find a girl gang in the workplace, there's something you can find in common. And I think having that support system, even the person who you can have that bright smile when you walk into the office and say, yeah, we got each other. It's always nice to have that. So I guess take the initiative.
Yeah, work spouse, mentor, whatever you want to call it. That's why I love the category of mentor, mentee as well. Pooja, you have someone who you sort of credit this incredible mindset to? Any women, any instances?
Oh, I think I have plenty. When I started, I was quite young. I was 23 when I started my business. And I think most of the big opportunities that came my way were women that made space for me. So whether it was my first store, a little counter in Good Earth, in Lower Parel in Raghuvanshi Mills, the head of marketing of Good Earth came, she found me and she said, we want you here, let's make it happen. Or whether it was, the founders of Palladium, the mall, that were like, okay, now we want you here. Whether it was the opportunity of writing my first book through Chiki Sarkar at Penguin 12 years ago, and life feels like it's coming full circle because I'm doing my first kids fiction book that is also now published under Juggernaut with Chiki. So I feel like I've been very lucky to have these opportunities, and I also think that it's very important to ask. I think that, and I did that a lot more when I was younger. I think when you have the inexperience of youth, where I would ask for things very boldly and bravely and not worry and not be like, how am I coming across? Am I looking, I think for me itself, I need to go back to that younger Pooja who was boldly, would just stand on a stage and be like, I want to write a book, and then somebody would be like, okay, we'll help you publish it. So I think asking is important, and then opportunities show up.
I'm so glad you brought in asking, because there is also this very toxic scarcity mindset. There is this thing that there is space only for few women on the top. Not everybody is going to make it. I think one of the earlier panels, it felt that it was a need to say that not all women on the top make space for other women as well. It's important to underline that. Do you relate? Do you think that's not true?
I think for me, I'm in an industry that's largely male-dominated, and when I started my own business. So I didn't have the opportunity to work under somebody. But what I've done in my own capacity is how can I create an atmosphere that encourages female leadership. So it's very nice to see that the girls who worked in our office, most of them have either started their own businesses, or some of them have gone into their chefing journey and come back and started their own businesses, which I support, I highlight. So if it wasn't available to you, what can you do to encourage and enable that?
Meera, I want to come to you with something more personal. You've built your own identity. You have, from facing insane public pressure to turning that into a platform, to saying that I am going to, sort of define life on my own terms. I'm going to become this wellness advocate. Is there a 3 a.m. pep talk that you give yourself to say that, you know what, girl, you got this? Is there a pep talk, look into the mirror moment?
I think I tell myself that every day, in some way, shape or form, because in the public eye, you always have all kinds of voices. I think sometimes you need to ensure that yours in your head is the loudest. And you're telling yourself who you are, what you believe in. Never forget that. Because they can say anything. They will have their opinions and they're entitled to have that. But I think recognizing where you made that mistake, how you can fix that, what you know is a non-negotiable for you. Things that you will definitely stand by no matter what, and who you are deep inside. I think your personality, your values, your integrity, I think that's the voice that you never want to be soft. You should make sure that it's always loud and clear, telling you, you got this. If nobody else likes it, you know you're doing the right thing. I mean, I can relate with Pooja, but say, for example, I'm a vegetarian, and I'm very particular about what I eat in terms of I don't eat eggs and things like that. And once I had someone approach me for a restaurant business, and I did say, well, I'm a vegetarian and I don't drink alcohol, so I'm not going to be involved in a business that does that. And I know that, I wish you all the very best, but it doesn't align with my principles. So I think somewhere you need to just know what's right, what's not, and who you are.
That's quite true. And Pooja, for you also, you were almost a lawyer, right?
I went to law school for 2 weeks. I don't think I should claim being a lawyer at all.
What happened?
I just saw the books and ran away. No, I just felt like, I was baking since I was 6 years old. I innately knew that this is what I wanted to do. Growing up, you didn't have that many female in hospitality or as a chef that you could say, this is a career I want. So I didn't know that was a possibility, but I enrolled into law school. 2 weeks in, I ran to my parents and said, I really want to take this path of hotels, restaurants, and so I was extremely lucky. I think it was my mom's dream as well, because she was a home baker and she had a small baking business from home. So the fact that she couldn't do it, she's like, okay, I couldn't do it, I'll let my daughter find a way for my daughter to do it. And the one thing that they told me is that, great, you want to do this, but education is important. So study, get your degree, and then, do whatever you want to do. And the pressure was very low on me at that point. So I was extremely happy to explore.
I'm so glad you touched upon that, because I want to reflect on that a little bit. Throughout the first part of the evening, we've spoken about how women in our generation are facing challenges we face, glass ceilings that we are breaking. But so much has changed as well. When I look at all the people who've got the honors earlier on and who are CEOs, CXOs, what they faced versus what we are doing now is so much different. Do you reflect upon the change that women are feeling today and the ecosystem that is today?
I think my exposure to this industry or this world has been pretty recent. And I can see when I speak to a lot of people, I don't know if Ahana is still here, but we met earlier on and she told me about her journey from Bharatpur to Bombay, how she started Open Secret and things like that. I feel, yes, of course, women now have a much larger appetite for risk. because they believe in themselves. And I think the ecosystem around them is a lot more supportive, not that, in a way that do what you want. You don't have to ask anyone, you don't have to tell anyone, you have a vision, go and follow that and chase that. I feel, from all there's Ahana. I feel that, I'm sure there has been a lot of these glass ceilings that many women have had to break, and I think we are very lucky now to have a much easier way in rooms, on platforms like this, saying what we want and getting away with it as well.
I think that deserves a huge round of applause to all women who walked this path before us and many more who will follow. Pooja, this space that you're in, the industry you're in, is also changing. You rightly said a lot of majority women cook, but how many of them are chefs? Majority women have a take on what is the right thing to eat, but not many are really calling the shots in boardrooms, etc. As we come to a close of this conversation, what is your advice and perhaps the legacy that you want to leave behind for the next who will come?
I feel like, for me, like my mom made space for me. Like I think I'm one of the first women in our family that actually, was working. I think that she did that for me. And what I can do is, what can I do for everyone who walks into my organization, into my kitchen, who comes in contact with me, whether it is in the form of teaching, whether it's mentorship, whether it's just, making the way for someone to step ahead and move ahead. So that's it, it was hard to get a seat at the table, so just making that table larger and pulling up more chairs and letting more girls join in. I think for me that would be what I would like to work towards.
What is the hard part, Meera, of being a woman entrepreneur, and what is the easy one?
I think it keeps changing. So one day what's easy becomes difficult. But on a serious note, I would say the hard part is balancing it all. I think every woman here knows that the struggle is real. You're trying to balance it. And it's not just saying balancing whether you have kids or a family or a career. I think just balancing life. Balancing time with yourself, giving enough time to chatting ridiculously with your friends, having, doing something that you've always wanted to do, travel somewhere, giving time to your business, ensuring it grows, mentoring the people who work with you. There's a lot to balance there. And then you can get a voice note from your child saying, "Mama, when are you coming back? Can I watch TV?" And you're like, "Yeah, just give me an hour." I think the easy part is the same thing. All of these people become your support system. All the people that need you are the ones that you rely on. And I think that I'm very lucky to have that. A support system that has always said, "Don't worry, you got this." The ones who respond to going crazy and call me in 3 minutes. So I think the easy part or the nice thing about being a woman entrepreneur is always having that circle and that security blanket that if something is going to go wrong, they got you. I think that's something that we both are very lucky to have. Yeah.
Pooja was shaking her head like, "I know what you're saying, woman. I know."
I feel you.
I
yes.
feel you. Hard part?
How much time do we have? I think I agree, finding balance, making sure that, you are finding time for yourself. I think that's something that I've actively done over the last year for myself. Pushing yourself, learning new things, managing a team, we say these things, but on a day-to-day, ensuring growth, ensuring everyone is still okay. There's a lot that we have to deal with at home, at work, and so just showing up, not only for other people, but also showing up for yourself. I think for me that this last year has been about both.
Right. On that note, here's to showing up for yourself, for your business, for your babies, both which have a P&L and the others which have a timetable. Pooja Dhingra and Meera Kapoor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so after that chat, it's time for a session that speaks straight to the heart. And to this evening, we are calling it Her Story, Her Power. Now, in this powerful conversation, we bring together trailblazers who are using innovation, advocacy, and creativity to change narratives, open doors, and leave behind legacies that will empower generations to come. And to moderate this discussion, let me call upon Naini Thakkar, Assistant Editor at Forbes India, on stage, and also welcome our panelists. Joining us tonight is Navya Naveli Nanda, founder of Project Naveli and brand ambassador for L'Oreal Paris, India. We have Aditi Gupta, co-founder of Menstrupedia. And we also have Shraddha Bansali, co-founder of Evo Foods. Please give them a huge round of applause.
You guys hear me? Yes. Okay, we're good. Thank you, ladies, for being here, and everyone in the room today. Thank you all for joining us for this wonderful evening. I hope all of you are having a great time. So today we're here to discuss, this event is pretty much what it is about. Her story, her power. I'm going to start with a question that I've asked a bunch of women in this room already, but I want to hear from the three of you. Navya, I'm going to start with you and we'll go around. For starters, can you share a defining moment in your journey that has shaped who you are today?
That's a tough first question to answer, but thank you for having me, Forbes and L'Oreal. I think it's been, like everyone said before me, a very inspiring evening, getting to hear a lot of women who I've personally looked up to through this entire journey of being an entrepreneur, so it actually feels surreal being in the same room as them. But thank you for having me, and I think, I don't know a defining moment that kind of has led me to where I am today, but I can talk about a defining conversation that changed my perspective on a lot of things. I work mainly with women entrepreneurs. We, support them with access to business resources and community and a lot more things. And I think for the longest time, my definition of a woman entrepreneur was very clear-cut and very concise as to this is what an entrepreneur means. It means to be, the loudest voice in the room, or be, someone wearing a suit and standing in a boardroom. It means someone who's, started a business that's got 100 crore turnover. And there were very clear definitions as to what an entrepreneur meant to me. And a conversation with my grandmother really changed my perspective on that, because I asked her about her life and her career. She's someone who, is juggling multiple different careers at the same time, plays many different roles. And I asked her that, you being an entrepreneur, how do you define one? And she actually completely changed my definition of that by telling me that the biggest and strongest entrepreneurs are actually right at home, not in the boardrooms. And our moms, our grandmoms, the women at home are actually the best entrepreneurs that this country has seen or the world has seen, because the way they manage a family is very similar to how you would manage an entire organization. The way you negotiate at home, the way you time manage, and the skills and qualities that women at home have, which is empathy, compassion. The previous panel talked about empathetic leadership, and I think these are qualities that today's leaders and entrepreneurs need. And ever since then, I think I look at home, I look at my grandmom, I look at my mom, my bua, my masis for the inspiration that I need to kind of channel into my work. So I think that was a very defining conversation for me.
That's beautiful, Navya. That's beautiful. Coming to you, Aditi, what has been that defining moment in your journey?
I think the defining moment for me was to talk about periods. 10 years back, nobody was talking about periods. Men were going to Mars, women couldn't go to the temple. So I thought, okay, there has to be somebody who has to talk about the challenges women are facing. When it comes to period and periods taboo, periods were a taboo back then. It is a very trendy topic now, and the narrative has changed. But yeah, my voice was shaky. I had doubts, but I constantly kept talking about periods and building a period positive world. And Maya Angelou कहती हैं कि if a woman stands up for herself, every time a woman stands up for herself, not knowing and not even claiming, she stands up for all women. So I think the defining moment for me was always to stand up for myself and say that, okay, I'm going to talk about periods, I'm going to talk about period taboo. And that literally changed everything. And in the due course of time, it literally changed how India would talk about periods.
Wow. Shraddha, what about you?
I've had a few defining moments, actually. And I think the one thing that's common between all my defining moments has been, so I've changed careers a few times. I used to run a restaurant, I have Evo, and now I'm studying hypnotherapy. Very different things. But I think the one thing that defines me the most and defines my life the most is this thing that I have to keep learning. I'm still trying to figure out what my purpose is. And I think the most defining thing is every time I find something that pushes me towards my purpose on this planet, I just run towards it. And being an entrepreneur in itself is really defining to me because it gives me this freedom to do this and to do that and to learn this. So yeah, I feel that my biggest, that's I think the most amazing thing for me right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you rightly said, you know, you've been juggling multiple ventures. You're now also, as I understand, moving into the wellness space. It can't be easy, right? Doing so many things at the same time. Tell us the challenges that you are currently facing in.
So the challenges in entrepreneurship that no one talks about but everyone goes through are failures. No one wants to talk about their failures when it's happening. When you're successful, everyone wants to tell you, oh my God, like I failed, but now I'm successful, right? When you're going through something, the world might not see it as a failure. And I'm very honest about this, right? But when you're going through it yourself, you see it as a personal failure. I'm not talking about in terms of numbers, but juggling a lot of things sometimes can feel like a failure because you feel like a failure. So I definitely feel like that's the most challenging part. And the most exciting part is obviously getting to do everything you want.
Great. Now we are coming to you. You know, you advocate for women's economic independence big time. What are some shifts that you are seeing in young women entrepreneurs and professionals, you know, that are up and coming? What's different when you look at today's, maybe the younger generation, the up and coming founders?
I think it's taken us a while to get comfortable into these shoes because we had very big shoes to fill. I think the women before us and a lot of them here today, I think really set the bar very high when it came to, empowering the next generation of women. And I think for us, we're still learning how to, break those ceilings that we do face sometimes. We're still learning how to have more confidence in our abilities and our voice and our opinion. But I do think that what is different, with this generation of women, I think that we're very ambitious, we're very strong, we don't take no for an answer very easily, and I think based on all the advice that we have been given from the women on the stage, I think that we are willing to fight back to a lot of the norms that often tell us that we don't deserve a seat at the table, or we can't raise our hand up to ask or question authority, and I think that that's something I've seen change a lot. And when it comes to economic independence, I think it's one of the most empowering feelings that I've had in my life and in my career, and I think that I would only hope that every woman feels that way and deserves to feel that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Aditi, you spoke a little bit about the early days of the company, but there's one topic that I know that you feel very passionately about, about how women founders rarely encounter questions, male founders rarely encounter questions that women founders do around marriage, motherhood, etc., etc. Have you personally faced such biases, and how do you navigate your experiences around, balancing your personal life as well as entrepreneurship? I know you're doing it today, so tell us about that.
I think right now, the ecosystem that we belong to, it's very resourceful. There is no way that you can fail, unless and until you are very lazy. If you're out there, there are people who will support you. But till the time you have done something substantial, even in your leadership position, wherever you are, you're already 30. And then your biological clock is starting to tick. And then you realize that, starting a family has a deadline. And you can't do much about it. So I really wish that somebody, when I was in my 30s, somebody told me that, "Behan, egg freeze kara lo." We are talking a lot about mentorship and we are talking a lot about going out there. But if you are in your 20s, "Behan, egg freeze kara lo." Because if you want to start a family or not start a family, that should be your decision. But then you know what happens? You start blaming yourself. What did I do wrong or was I late? So your dreams doesn't have to be a deadline, and so does your family planning doesn't have to be a deadline. I also feel that I wish there were more leaders who put out the story more often, that how are they managing their kids while they are doing all the things and moving mountains. Other than Radhika Gupta and Melisha Mayer, I couldn't see that in public domain. That how are these women, like, who are looking after their kids? I get my kids to the office, and we have a separate space in the office where the kids can play while I'm building Menstrupedia with them, and it is amazing. But yeah, more and more women, if they can say this, rest other things are very similar to male entrepreneurs, as in mentorship mein kya hoga, funding ka kya karna hai, how do I increase my revenues, doesn't change much. But these are the questions that hits you, and it hits you hard, and it becomes very difficult to find out, because you doubt yourself ki how are they doing. So maybe that is where I find more scope, where we can definitely talk more about fertility, more about family planning, a better conversation than saying ki arey late kar diya, you are going to your gynecologist and saying ki aapne late kar diya. And definitely how are you building it along with having an amazing family life. We talk about balancing. Can we talk about harmonious life, where you are aggressively growing your company, and then again not worrying too much about the family because it is taken care of. And when the family needs time, then you are not feeling so guilty of taking time away. So a work-life harmony, and
yeah, it's much needed, and thank you for bringing this up. I'm sure there's so many women in the room that relate to this. Navya, tell us, since Aditi brought up the topic around biases, have you noticed such challenges in your journey of building the ventures that you are running today during your initial days, particularly being a young woman founder?
I think bias is more around age. I think I started Project Naveli when I was 22. I just graduated college, and I was talking about very serious things. I was talking about menstruation, I was talking about domestic violence, I was talking about entrepreneurship, and I think the constant question and doubt came from the opposite side, that you're too young to be doing what you're doing, you don't have the experience, you don't have the life experience to be talking about such serious things that people study and contemplate their entire life. And I think that was the only bias that I think a lot of other younger people today face too, whether it's founders, whether it's in the entertainment business, whether it's in the development sector. I think your age is constantly questioned, and whether you're experienced enough. And I think just telling yourself that you're never too young or too old to stand up for the right thing. And those are the values that I grew up with, and I was always encouraged to voice my opinion and stand for what I believed in. And I was never told that age, whether it was too old or too young, was ever a factor that should stop you from doing that. So I think that's bias that I overcame in my journey. And I also feel that we're here today talking about self-made women with a brand that stands for self-worth. And I think these are also biases that the world doesn't put on us, but we put on ourselves. We often tend to doubt and question our own worth, our own confidence, our own abilities. I've done that many times. I think it's been a journey of me understanding my own worth. And when we're talking about women of worth, I don't think that a woman of worth is someone who's possibly accomplished the largest business or has done so much in her life. I think all of us are worth something, and we all are women of worth. And I think whether that's in the entrepreneurship field, whether it's a homemaker, whoever that might be, I think that journey with yourself is a bias that we all need to overcome as women sometimes.
Very, very true. Shraddha, coming to you, I mean, today we've done a bunch of video series around mentors and mentees, and mentors are important, is what I understand. What kind of a role have they played in your journey, and who have these mentors been, male, female? Tell us a bit about that, and what have been your learnings from that?
So, like I said, I'm always learning. I don't think I know enough about anything yet, and I don't think I will until the day I die. So, I have, in my life, I consider two big mentors, and one I've been very blessed to meet just recently. So my first mentor will always be my father. He is the person that has taught me the most about life, and also how to live it with my head held high. And to be honest, a lot of the times, personally, I never felt there was a glass ceiling, because he never made me feel like I was any different. I never felt like I was a girl or a boy. We were treated very equally. So I've gone through life like that. I also credit a lot of my business acumen to him, and he's the person I admire the most in my life. And the second mentor is someone I met very recently. I've become a lot more spiritual, and in this path, when I started studying hypnotherapy, I've met my teacher. Her name is Dr. Amita. She's who I'm studying under. I didn't think, once you, in your mind, achieve certain things, to go back and learn something from scratch can be a bit daunting, right? Because you're starting not from zero, from like -0, right? But she's made this entire journey of understanding life path, soul purpose, the subconscious mind. It's been so lovely studying under her. So I really credit actually a lot of who I have become in the past 1.5 years to the mentorship that she's given me. And she handholds me, so I do, under her guidance, practice certain cases. And I think she's made herself so available to me, and she is someone that's so invested in my growth. So yeah, I think these are the two mentors I've had in my life, and I'm blessed to have them.
Fantastic. As I understand, we're running out of time, so I'm going to take some closing thoughts from all three of you. Now, we are starting with you. Looking back, what is the biggest lesson you wish more younger women knew at an earlier stage? Or what would you tell your younger self?
I'm still very young.
Even younger, maybe when you started out, when you were back when you were 22.
I'm still learning, to be very honest. I whenever I get asked to share advice, I get very conscious, because I don't think I'm in a position to be giving anyone advice.
But I'm sure there are lots of women young girls that look up to you.
I would say, though, that I think what I talked about earlier, and something that I would go back and tell myself, is to know that I'm worth something no matter what I achieve in life. I don't have to get the best grades at college. I don't have to, run the most successful business. There will be times when there are failures, there'll be successes, but not to let my self-worth be defined by those things, but more it should be about the relationship I have with myself, and that should never change. No matter what happens in my career, in my personal life, that my self-worth stays intact and continues to do so through all of that. So I think that's a lesson that I would tell myself when I was younger.
Nice. Aditi, what about you?
The question is?
What advice, or what would you like to tell your younger self, looking back, some advice that you'd...
To be my biggest cheerleader, love yourself fiercely and cut yourself slack. Don't beat yourself up so much in order to just be perfect and just be out there, but you can cut some slacks. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Shraddha?
It's okay to dress well and dress different and still be considered a serious business person and chase your goals.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, all of you. This was a fantastic conversation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so much. Moving on now, and as we move ahead in this incredible evening, it's time to put a spotlight for a truly special moment, one that celebrates visionary leadership, unshakable resilience, and bold innovation. Our next honor is Icon of Excellence, and it is reserved for a woman whose journey has not only redefined her industry, but has also become a powerful source of inspiration for countless others to dream big, push boundaries, and lead with purpose. She's not just a success story, she's a spark that ignites change. And to present this very prestigious honor, may I please call upon stage Soumya Suryanarayan, Director for Impact and ESG, Avishkar Capital, and Manvi Sharma, Founder and MD, Trishul Media Solutions. All right, tonight we celebrate a woman who has quite literally reshaped the way India works. Please join me in honoring Meghna Agarwal, co-founder of India Cube, a visionary entrepreneur who transformed a simple idea into a nationwide movement of smart, sustainable workspaces. Now, from empowering startups to enabling enterprises, Meghna's journey is a powerful story of grit, growth, and purpose. She champions inclusion, leadership, embraces innovation, and proves that success isn't just about scaling, it's about leaving lasting impact. That's Meghna Agarwal, our icon of excellence.
Okay, thank you, Jury, and thank you, Forbes. Well, I'm not too sure about the icon, but I'm also a small town girl from Alwar. I knew that if I not work hard, I'll be married to some pan-Indian eating guy and spitting all over. A founder, the journey would have been tough. So thank you once again. Yeah.
All right, up next, it's time to honor a visionary who's pausing the boundaries of innovation in healthcare and diagnostics. It is Devika Gholap. He's the co-founder and chief product officer at Optra Scan. She is a driving force in revolutionizing digital pathology across the globe. And with her deep tech expertise and unwavering focus in accessibility, Devika has transformed how career and other She's also transformed a whole lot of things on how cancer and other diseases are detected, diagnosed, making early detection smarter, faster, and more affordable. Huge round of applause, please.
I thought I could get away from that. Thank you. This was really unexpected. My name is Devika, like she said. My journey in entrepreneurship started because my grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, my father's mother. We were based in India. We could not find the right way to get her diagnosis. We could not find the right way to pinpoint what exactly caused her leukemia. That's where we decided that there has to be a better way to do diagnostics in cancer. I went abroad, I studied in the US, did my engineering, did my MBA, and then came back because I believe in the India growth story. I truly do. I bumped into someone and we were talking about it in the bathroom. I spent so much time in the US, learned about everything that I could, and came back to do what I've always wanted to do, is to help all other grandmothers here and all other families going through the same thing. So it's truly been an honor, and being part of this room with wonderful, wonderful, talented women just makes me believe in the India growth story even more. So I'm really, really grateful to be part of this, and thank you, Forbes, for recognizing.
Bravo. All right, I would request Soumya and Manvi to actually stay back for the next set of awards as well. And this is for Forbes India W-Power facilitations that are happening. Now, it's time to celebrate an iconic woman whose stories have been relentlessly shaping our collective future. Now, beyond excelling in their respective fields, they have also been breaking molds, building legacies, and inspiring millions through their vision, their artistry, and their leadership. Now, women make up a critical core of driving India's tech revolution. Amongst our midst is a visionary leader who is sort of driving the semiconductor revolution ground up. Please welcome up on stage Mona Khandar. She's the Principal Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat. Mona is a 1996 batch IAS officer and is known for getting work done on complex assignments. She's also the first woman to serve as the Principal Secretary of the Department of Science and Technology in Gujarat and is currently working on implementing the Global Capacity Center policy and the Capability Center policy there as well. Please keep the applause going. Let's
thank you, Forbes, for this recognition and felicitation on this powerful platform of W-Power. Actually, I thought I was just doing my duty, but Nandita and her team, they convinced me that, no, it's worth this recognition. So, as a shy and introvert teenager, you know, I always aspire to break from the conservative shackles and have a flight in the open sky. And on this momentous occasion, I would like to take some of the names very important to me for bestowing me with such powerful wings. So they are important personally as well as professionally to me. So personally, my spiritual mentor, Acharya Shri Vidyasagar ji, my parents, my husband, who is my batchmate, he's a friend, he's a colleague, and a very supportive companion. My daughters, who are actually at times source of inspiration to me, and my brother and sister. I'm blessed with a family full of virtues, and the entire range of emotional quotient, the sincerity, the strength of character, and dedication to nation, sensitivity to troubled ones, all this come from them. Professionally, I have been privileged to be working with Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Chief Minister, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, and now Prime Minister of India. As Chief Minister, he actually shattered the glass ceiling, not only for women officers, but for women per se. And his vision for exponential growth, to make Bharat a developed country, even then, actually widened the horizon and gave wings to my imagination, innovation, and I could work on very important projects in finance, in IT, in healthcare, urban development, rural development, and picking up awards and recognition. It also earned me the selection for Mason Fellowship in Harvard University with World Bank Scholarship. As Prime Minister, the association continued, and at present, in the mammoth nation-building exercise, you know, where India, Bharat, is going through a mammoth transition of economic development from being a service country or service nation to product nation. For the first time, rather than only service being the foundation of our economic growth, now manufacturing and industry is also equally important. And for that, the entire framework of product-linked incentive and a huge CapEx program for India Semiconductor Mission. We are in the process of setting up a sector which is the most state-of-the-art, and we are building that from scratch. And it is connected globally. There have been concerns whether Bharat can do it, whether Gujarat can do it. However, within a stringent timeline, we are working to have a policy framework, to build institutions, to have the infrastructure and end-to-end ecosystem. And with this, I also need to mention one very important name of the present Chief Minister of Gujarat. Not that he leads us from front, but we also have his back. He's a thorough professional. He's a man of few words, but lot of action. And I would also like to mention Honorable Union Minister Shri Ashwini Vaishnavji for all this happening that we are seeing on tech front. And for all these wonderful women present here, I would like to mention a very unique challenge that I was exposed to. As a workaholic civil servant, public servant, a policy maker, I work day in and day out with stakeholders. And that put me a little ahead of time, little ahead of understanding. And I was facing the challenge that some of my senior colleagues would not able to see or understand. And, there have been testing time that they will tell me, okay, don't do it this way, don't rock the boat too much, or just go with the flow. But however, being a strong-headed person that I am, I kept on telling them and always proved right. So ultimately, now it has been recognized that whenever she says something different, let us at least listen to her and try to understand and try to implement. So once again, Forbes, a lot of congratulations for holding this kind of event. And I think in future it is going to fizzle away because it will become a norm. It will not be, anymore a kind of spatial achievement. And that is how policies and everything, they become more effective when they become redundant. Thank you very much for this platform to connect with all these wonderful women. Thank you.
Please give Mona a huge round of applause. I would also like to mention that she was a Forbes India W-Power mentee with her mentor, Anita Kharwal over there, the chairwoman of Gujarat Real Estate Regulatory Authority as well, RERA as we know it now. So congratulations, ma'am. Thank you for being with us over the years. All right, moving forward, our next honoree is a visionary entrepreneur who has redefined the business of Bollywood by bringing unmatched strategic thinking and authenticity to the world of entertainment, and is known to be the force behind the meteoric rise of the who's in who in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you can also do who, yeah? Please put your hands together for the dynamic Rohini Iyer, founder and director of Ringed In Group. Beyond building brands empires, Rohini has been a tireless advocate for gender equality and a mentor to countless women in media and entertainment. Her journey is not just about success, it's about setting new standards and inspiring a generation to lead with purpose and passion.
Hi everyone. It's so amazing to see all these wonderful people here. And when I say people, I mean women, because I totally think women rule and women rock. So everyone, and the fact that this is such a special award to me, because it's Forbes, firstly, and secondly, because it's self-made. It's about self-made women. I actually started my career as a self-made woman, I think 2 decades back, but yeah, I still like to believe I'm very, very young, which I am. But coming back to my journey, I just wanted to say that I was somebody who was just a kid with dreams, who wanted to just rule the world, the film industry largely, and I said I would do it. And I had no connections, I had no godfather, I had no backing, I just had education, spunk, and a lot of guts. And when I speak, I see so many women here speaking about their worth. You know, we just had this entire conversation earlier about the whole I'm worth it. He was right there speaking about it. I think I'm like the brand ambassador of I'm worth it and L'Oreal, honestly. I feel it because everywhere I go, I ask women to ask for their worth. I think I was such a young kid when I started asking for what I was worth, because every time I would turn around and see self-made women, they were always apologetic about asking for money, asking for what they were worth, asking for designation. They were not very comfortable in the boys' club. They always were, you know, very unsure about what they brought to the table. Whereas I was always somebody who walked into the room and said, you know what I bring to the table? I am the table. I am always the table. And the other thing I always do believe that every woman, every confident self-made woman, if she had the audacity and the confidence of even a mediocre man, we would rule this world, but I think we're getting there already. And lastly, I just want to say that, you know, it's also a very, very emotional day for me because while everyone was thanking their mother-in-laws and their mothers and their family, I am just wanting to thank the only woman who I want to thank, which is why I have this award, which is why I'm standing here on the stage, is my mom. She's been my inspiration. She was a single mom. She brought me up. She made me who I am. All the guts, all the audacity that you see is, I think, thanks to her. I lost her last July. It's been 10 months, and when I wanted to come for this award, the first thing I did when I heard about it was, I wish I could tell her. I wish I could show it to her. But I know she's here somewhere. So this is for you, Mama. Thank you.
I'm sure she's listening, and more power to you. All right, our next icon has redefined language of Indian fashion on the global stage. Please give a huge round of applause to Anamika Khanna, creative director and founder of Anamika Khanna and AKOK. As someone who's celebrated for blending Indian craftsmanship with global silhouettes, Anamika has created a signature style that's bold, it's artistic, and unmistakably her own. Her couture runways to cultural conversations, she has pushed creative boundaries and inspired generations of designers to embrace individuality and innovation. We've got a little message and a special one from her. Let's hear it.
A huge thank you to Forbes India for featuring me on the W-Power list. It is indeed an honor, and I accept it with all humility. It is acknowledgement like this that gives me the courage to never stop. Thank you again.
All right, we're delighted to have Neha Soni with us. She's the retail head at Anamika Khanna to receive the honor. All right, up next, we are honored to celebrate a pioneer who's making India proud on the global stage. Please join me in celebrating Payal Kapadia, a visionary filmmaker whose work is shaping the future of Indian cinema. Now, Payal has sort of etched her name in history with her remarkable achievement at Cannes in 2024 with the film All We Imagine Is Light, made its mark as the first Indian film in nearly 3 decades to compete at the prestigious festival and ultimately won the Grand Prix there. It was also in the running for the best foreign language film at the Golden Globe, along with the nomination for Kapadia's for the best director, and nominated at the BAFTA as well. The list is really long. Let's also take a moment to watch the message she sent for us.
Thank you so much, Forbes India, for including me in this wonderful list of such amazing women. It's really an honor for me to be part of it. And so sorry I could not be there with all of you today to celebrate this wonderful list. And I just want to say a big, big thank you.
All right. Manat Matharu is here accepting the honor on her behalf. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to give a resounding applause to each of these women achievers whose journey have been a beacon of It's been a beacon of hope for countless others. Thank you, Soumya and Manvi as well for joining us here on stage. Up next, we have an exciting session that celebrates women who are not just participating in industries, but completely reshaping them. From an individual who has structured India's first women's football sponsorship deal to another who has led communication and brand management for Shah Rukh Khan, the blockbuster films of Red Chilli Entertainment and IPL team for Kolkata Knight Riders. These two trailblazing leaders are forging paths where none existed before. Their innovative work in the sports and media landscape proves that creativity, strategy, and leadership knows no gender. I'd first like to invite Kunal, the editor desk for Forbes India, to moderate this fascinating conversation. Please also welcome our speakers, Jinisha Sharma, Director of Capri Sports, and Manvi Sharma, Founder and MD for Trishul Media Solutions.
If there are two things that people are deeply passionate about, it's sport and entertainment. And I'm glad that I have both of you all to speak about how women are turning the tide in these two sectors and also give us a business and branding perspective. I'll start with you, Jinisha, first. After completing your MBA, you started Capri Sports in 2023. What was the idea behind it?
So there's like a quick clarification in my bio. So Capri Sports owns about 5 teams today in commercial sports. So we own a team in women's cricket, men's cricket, kabaddi, kho-kho, and very recently we've started our journey in women's football. So I think we're not there yet in terms of cracking a big sponsorship deal, but we're on our way. I have been part of the Capri Global Group for a very long time, and there was a huge opportunity that we were seeing to to be a part of the growing sports industry. And more than looking at IPL, which has, of course, been one of the most successful products that have come out of India, we were looking at what's next, right? So kabaddi has been an incredible sport that's come out of India, and you see many people in corners of India, smaller cities that play the sport, and we realize that there is an opportunity here for us to become a part of that. Same with kho-kho, you'll find a wonderful group of people in this country who play this day in, day out. Women's cricket obviously has been on the rise recently. Cricket, of course, is one of the most loved sports in the country, but women's cricket has been sort of ignored for a very long time. That was until the under-19 team won the World Cup a few years ago. So we started in sports seeing that there is a blue ocean where beyond men's cricket, not a lot of people were paying attention to it. And we said, let's get into it and see what we can build from here.
So why is it important to give a fillip to sports other than cricket, kabaddi, kho-kho, for instance?
So cricket, if you look at it, actually is a very expensive sport to play. So if you're talking about the masses, and today IPL is an entertainment format, and they have built an incredible sports product that people love watching. But when you look at who's playing cricket, there is an audience that honestly hasn't grown beyond just the boys. With women's cricket, we're hoping to change that narrative and actually get a lot of girls to experience cricket as well. But when you look at the indigenous sports of India, which is kabaddi and kho-kho, you'll see that in various corners of the country, in every school, kabaddi and kho-kho are sort of part of it. And all it needed was a way to make it a good TV product, a good product where you want to you want to buy a ticket, you want to go into the stadium and watch it, because it has such energy and such momentum. So not to say that cricket is sort of getting any lower because kabaddi is growing, but there is so much interest for people to go beyond cricket because it is an expensive sport for most people to experience and to play, and we feel like newer sports need to come up because there is a huge market in India for different audiences to experience variety of sports.
Mandvi, you began as a journalist before moving on to the other side. What were some of the changes that you've seen in the entertainment industry over the years, and what are some of the things that probably surprised you or even shocked you?
To begin with, when I was a journalist, and thankfully to my editors, then two of them very brilliant people, we were forced to research. We couldn't go wrong with our facts. So it wasn't a quick conversation piece and you just put out there because, everybody's very digital these days. We weren't back then. We were still very primitive newspaper people. But it was very deadline and facts oriented. Now it's deadline, it's facts, it's curating a brand. So a lot has changed, but not so much. It was a good transition for me, and I felt very organic also because of the opportunities I got later in life. So I think I could just slip into it. I was very comfortable.
What were some of the changes that shocked you when you moved to the other side?
I think when you're a journalist, nothing shocks you after that. You've kind of seen it all. So, but not shock me. I was very pleasantly surprised that all my colleagues in public relations and other streams, apart from journalism, you kind of discount yourself when you're a journalist that you're the only one sitting with the facts. That's actually not true. There are people out there, whether it is Janisha's job or my job or Rohini for that matter. I feel that there are a lot of people out there with a lot of facts, a lot of acumen, and it was a pleasant surprise for me, the kind of work people were putting into the job.
You're responsible for creating stars out of actors. Tell us what all goes behind it. What's your strategy?
Here's the thing, everybody is different. Like you have different beats in journalism. Somebody's doing crime, somebody's doing business, somebody's doing sports. It's the same for every person, whether it's an actor, an actress, a technician, a director, a producer. Everybody's demand of the journey is very different. They select their path. So once they've selected their path and they're very clear about their choreograph, how they want to lay down the path, where do they want to be? Because not everybody is wanting to be a star. Sometimes they just want to be a great actor, be known for that. So you kind of have to have that clarity, and then you lay down the foundation for that, and you curate it in a way that it feels like that person doesn't have a publicist. It has to be so organically done and so smartly done. Because when you make your strategy so obvious, then you're going to be writing next, like the PR needs to calm down. So it has to be smartly done.
Janisha, she spoke about everyone being different. What has been your experience of unearthing raw talent from the grassroots? What is the kind of platform that one can provide so that they become pan-India stars, global stars? What is the support that one could give them?
I'm glad this panel is happening after all the wonderful panels before this, because they spoke so much about where talent is coming from in India across industries, and sports is no different. We have amazing talent which is coming out of much smaller towns and cities in India. And what they need today is the right ecosystem to be able to, grow. I think in sports especially, you have to start young to be able to nurture talent, right? So today we feel like there's a gap in the pathways available, and there is definitely a shift which is coming, especially with the kind of performance India has been having at the Olympics. So you can see that there are a lot of people behind the scenes that are trying to find talent early on, get the support, and for an athlete, to be honest, the support goes beyond just on the field. They need a lot of support in terms of mental stamina to not give up, because if I could be so bold, I would say that sports is probably an industry which faces the most amount of failure, and very publicly. So success comes very, 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 very few times for an athlete or for a team. But your failure happens more so, and that's the journey that they have to take. For India to continue to be on the path that it is, I think it needs an entire ecosystem, right from corporates, brands, HNIs, the government, everybody to join hands to say that we want to create more pathways, especially for young female athletes to succeed. And I think some of the work is done, but there's a lot more to be done.
Mandvi, you were a publicist for Shah Rukh Khan as well. What stood out for you when you were dealing with him? And what does one have to keep in mind while handling a mega star like him?
I still don't know why he hired me. So, but it was a blessing in disguise, because I was very conflicted whether to be a publicist or do something else in the film industry. That was very exciting. But I think when you have a boss at that stature who is not treating you like I'm the superstar and you're just an employee, I was a colleague to him. And I think it takes a very well-educated, very secure human being professionally to do that. He's a very knowledgeable person. So I genuinely feel that I have come out of the Shah Rukh Khan University very well learned. So that was a blessing in disguise. He still remains a mentor. And I think the one thing we have to learn, not just handling a megastar, but just about everybody, you go in completely prepared to be your 110%. You cannot have a checkout day, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. You have to be there on ball 100% because your failure reflects on that brand, that person. So you need to make sure that you're thinking 5 steps ahead and letting that person be who that person is, because if they start thinking about your job, then you're failing at every step.
Yeah, you described him as a secure man, but I asked you a question because there are also fragile egos in the entertainment industry. How does one tackle those then?
I think one, I've been working for too long, so I don't handle them anymore. But I've been blessed. I've been surrounded by very amazing professionals, so I haven't had to do that. And after working with a man like Mr. Khan, you get spoiled. You kind of are constantly looking for people who are highly professional, driven, have dreams to, kind of chase. So I've very, kind of consciously been working with people who want to be somewhere. So I've kind of steered clear of people with egos. I'm blessed that way.
Jinisha, you, on the other hand, work with women players who probably and most often don't get the kind of attention and fame that their male counterparts do. How does one build a women's player's brand in such a scenario? I mean, and have you learned anything from global examples?
This is a great story, and I'm so glad that Manvi is here because I think I might have to take her card after this, because there is definitely a systemic issue here that we're very used to telling women's stories in the perspective of rags to riches. That she came from a really small town, look at the struggle she's had. And while that's important, that's not the only narrative arc that we have today for athletes. We're seeing incredible brands work with 16-year-olds in the US who are picking up talent for basketball, picking up talent for football, very, very young. They're launching shoes with Nike at a very young age, right? So the way that a country values its athletes, I think that's one perspective that we're trying to change. With cricket specifically, I think although it is one of the most loved, most adored, most watched sport in India, and it competes very high globally as well in terms of following. With women's cricket, we are looking at how we can work very authentically with brands who also have similar stories. I think even looking at L'Oreal today and what we're doing here, right? It's a great example for when you're saying, I'm worth it, and how athletes can also be building communities around their stories. So there's a lot of work to be done. Again, I think the industry is just starting to warm up to what's happening in the world of women's sports.
Yeah. Do you see women-focused brands doing a better job of promoting women athletes, and are they coming forward to, doing that?
Not as many, but I'll name one that we worked with, and we had an unbelievable experience, which was K by Katrina. And, it's a makeup brand. And the first thing they told us was, the players don't need to wear makeup. You don't need to show our product. But the story of K by Katrina is, the tagline is, it's K to be you. And she said, all I want to see is how the players want to express themselves. Don't put my product in there. And to me, I was really taken aback because, we're making decks to show them that this is how we can do product placement and this is how we can promote. And they were like, that's not what we're here about. So I think that's one example, and I'm hoping that in the years to come, we can actually unearth many more brands who understand the power and the depth that athletes can bring to their brand.
Yeah, Mandvi, today a celebrity is also a brand. So how does one maintain an actor's persona at a time when they're under constant scrutiny and they can be trolled for the smallest of things?
See, I think one thing we've all realized is that eventually our goal is to reach the audiences, right, with our work. So our endeavor is that. But what happens is, in the journey to be an artist, one has started being a good influencer while you're aiming to be an actor or a female actor. You kind of don't forget that. Who are you pleasing eventually? You need to be very clear about the audiences that you want to reach. And secondly, do not fake it. At any point, don't fake it. Even if you get trolled for being raw, vulnerable yourself, give it time to people and don't let it bog you down. Because I'm sorry, there are a lot of people out there who are wanting to be you, and because they cannot be you, it's rather easier to pull you down. So let it happen. It is going to die down, because today you're getting trolled, tomorrow somebody else is, because it's no fun to get you trolled. Or, for that matter, if there is something that really needs attention, then you kind of address it. We've seen Alia addressing the trolls. We've seen other actors from the industry addressing the trolls. But it's only need basis. It's not every time. So you do not indulge in fallacies of other people's minds constantly. Ignore as much as you can.
My final question to you all, we hear about a gender-inclusive world. Let's talk of women-centric films, pay parity. What are your views on all these things, and do you see the situation improving on ground?
I would say that maybe a lot of people in the room don't know, and we can take a lot of pride in knowing, is that India is one of the first countries to take pay parity for female cricketers, which has been incredible by BCCI. I think it's, it's a stance that you take, that although women's cricket is just on the rise, we are willing to look at pay parity. So that's been incredible, and I hope that more federations across the world start looking at that model. But at a company level, I think we take this very seriously, because we're seeing that today, if I want to go out and source a female team manager for my girls, I can't do that, which means I have the onus and responsibility to train more women to be able to take up those positions, because its talent may not be ready, and that's not an excuse. So right from how we hire internally for Capri, and also who we work with through our sports seasons, we try to get as many women into the room, train them up, and make sure that they're actually ready for all the opportunities out there.
Manvi?
I think the conversations have started. We still need to see the change, and I'm not going to deny that. Having said that, a lot of people are working towards it. They're working towards women's stories. They're working towards making sure that they're more entertaining, because that's the crib everybody had, right? I mean, you're not getting the box office collection for us, and hence the gap. But my request to everybody who is hearing this, or maybe just kind of skipping it still, please think about it. If you make the story good enough for people to be entertained enough to be seated in a theater, then the woman doing all the heavy lifting there on the big screen deserves the pay. Please go ahead and give it.
Well, thank you so much. It was lovely listening to your insights. Thanks once again for your time. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, Jinisha. Thank you, Manvi, as well. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move on to the final set of felicitations for the evening. And to do the honors, I'd like to invite Praveena Rai, MD and CEO, MCX and Forbes India W-Power alumni, and Ashu Suyash, co-founder of Kulosa Ventures, on stage to give away the final set of awards for the evening. Please welcome them with a huge round of applause. Our next award is for the second woman and the first female psychiatrist to command the top post of India's largest mental health institution in 50 years. Dr. Pratima Murthy became the director of NIMHANS in 2021 when the world was in the clutches of COVID-19. She's currently steering the second edition of the National Mental Health Survey across all states and union territories, which will be published next year. Please welcome on stage Dr. Pratima Murthy, Director at NIMHANS. Please give her a huge, huge round of applause.
Thank you very much. It's rather late in the evening, and I'm going to keep it very short. I just wanted to say it's been such an awe-inspiring evening. It's been such a refreshing evening. It's been such an educative evening. Thanks to Forbes for this wonderful recognition. It was a fascinating time listening to all the entrepreneurs, the artists, the people making the bucks. Sometimes I just wonder whether the healthcare providers, sometimes get a little left behind. So I'm actually taking this award on behalf of all those who provide healthcare in our country. Everybody's brought somebody with them. So I thought it best to bring my mom with me. And the only way I could bring my mom is to wear her sari. So here I am. Of course, it's also to say thanks to all the women who help us reach here. Everybody mentioned mums-in-law, daughters. Daughters who sometimes inspire and sometimes make us perspire. They're the only ones at the end of the day who say, when are you getting back? Do you have to go on this travel? And of course, there are lots of men in our lives as well whom we must thank. But most importantly, I think this award is a representation of all the people who not only just provide health care, but particularly mental health care. There are lots of them, psychiatrists, psychologists, psychiatric social workers, nurses, lots of us who provide this health care, and I'm taking it on behalf of all of them. One of our colleagues on the panel said that she ditched law because the law books were so heavy. You should actually see the medicine books. Anyway, we've all survived here. And I think I just wanted to say one last thing. Of course, in addition to, the kind of work that we do, it's also very important to understand that leadership is not just about position. And I think Navya said it actually. It's about recognizing yourself and doing good in whatever you do. So to all the young ones here, hitch your wagon to the stars. And if you don't reach the stars, you'll reach the moon at least. And stay grounded, stay compassionate, and care for others, and be a wonderful human being. That's the most important thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Dr. Murthy, thank you so very much. All right, our next honoree is a leader who exemplifies the power of vision and the authenticity in redefining the landscape of finance. Please join me in celebrating Vishakha Mule, CEO of Aditya Birla Capital. As the CEO of Aditya Birla Capital, she has not only sort of driven sustainable growth, but also played a pivotal role in empowering women. Since Vishakha couldn't join us here tonight, we do have to invite Darshana Shah, CMO at Aditya Birla Capital, to accept the honor on our behalf. Congratulations. Thank you also for doing the honors. All right, our next honoree for the evening is somebody whose name we've all very, very familiar with. We love. It's Manu Bhakar, a young icon whose journey is nothing short of inspiring, from becoming one of India's youngest Olympic shooters to breaking records on the global stage. Now, while she's unable to join us in person today, she has shared a very special video message. Let's take a look.
Hello everyone. I'm truly honored to receive the Forbes India W-Power Award. As an athlete, मैंने अपनी discipline और routine को काफी importance दिया है. It has helped me reach where I am today. This recognition means a lot to me. It fuels me to do more and put in those extra efforts. I really hope it encourages more women to take up sports and live their dreams. When I had picked up the pistol for the first time, I had never imagined the places it would take me. But I always knew I wanted to make my country proud. And today, being part of a platform that celebrates powerful women across the fields is a moment I will cherish deeply. Thank you, Forbes India, for this honor. It's a reminder that age doesn't define power. Vision, passion, and perseverance does. To all the young girls watching this, dream freely, work fiercely, and the world will be yours. Thank you.
All right, that was indeed beautiful. Thank you so much for that message. Let's move on to the next category. And now we sort of celebrate an icon who truly needs no introduction. With her soulful performances, she has become one of India's most beloved voices. She is none other than Suniti Chauhan. Now, while Suniti is unable to join us, there is a special message. Let's listen in.
Thank you, Forbes India and the esteemed jury for this incredible honor. I'm truly grateful to be featured among such inspiring and powerful women on the W-Power list of 2025. I hope to continue doing what I love to do and spread happiness, love, more music, and of course, more power. Thank you once again. I really missed being there tonight. I hope you all have a great evening ahead.
We indeed did, and congratulations to Suniti. And with that, we draw the curtain on Forbes India W-Power 2025. What an incredible evening, lots to think about, lots to do as well. A huge congratulations to all of our honorees for their remarkable contribution. Your leadership, passion and commitment to excellence continues to inspire us all. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speakers, guests, and everyone in the audience for coming in today. A special thank you to our esteemed partner, L'Oreal Paris, for making this evening such a resounding success. Let's carry forward the spirit of Forbes India W-Power and continue to champion the next generation of women leaders. Thank you and good night.